Good morning. Welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. This is the first snowy Sunday that I didn't have to worry about whether we were going to cancel services. So there actually is some benefit to all this Zoom meeting we are doing. I'm Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry, and I'm joined today by Service Associate Brigitte Vieira, who is substituting in for Laura Patterson, who isn't feeling well today. Tad Koryeth, Emily Jaworski, and One Voice are providing music. And of course, we have our tech ushers today, Deborah Mensch and Mary Stackpole, who are the behind the scenes folks who help everything run so smoothly. And I have so much gratitude for all of the tech ushers who, work with us on Sundays. But most important, we are joined by all of you today, this fellowship, all of you who come together for meaning making, inspiration, and consolation, comfort. You're the reason we do any of it. So as we say our welcome words today, I invite you to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so, and scroll through the screens so you can experience the lovely diversity of this congregation. You are all welcome here today. And all the beauty of languages, cultures, and skin tones that come together in your uniqueness, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways that you make your living, in all the places you are from, you are welcome here. Christian, pagan, humanist, Jew, Buddhist, mystic, Muslim, Unitarian, Universalist, with all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. And no matter how long you are away, nor how soon before you return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart today or tears, you are welcome. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. I've just seen that I've got a text from Jessica that says for some reason lots of people are starting to log into the SOS Zoom room right now. So I wonder if our tech ushers can work on figuring that out to make sure everybody who wants to be here is actually in the right place. Deborah, could you give me a little nod? Okay, she's on it. And thank you, Jessica, for that text. We will have religious programming for our younger people today. It will be on Zoom because of the snow, and you will find an email link in your inbox. Or you can email Kitty at bvuuf.org. That's KITTY at bvuuf.org for all the children and youth programming. Elementary school meets from 2 to 3. Middle school meets from 2 to 3 as well. And high school will meet from 4 to 6. This coming weekend, the fellowship will be full of activity. We're really doing everything we can to help us stay connected and feel connected. On Friday, October 30th, you can Zoom the Good Ship Show. It is the first of our auction items. So there's a donation to enter, but please don't, to show up, but please don't let that stop you from coming. We will have our folks performing for you, Elizabeth Kern, the band, and some storytelling from Wynn Montgomery, as well as our headliner, John Sousa, will be playing for us that night. On Saturday, October 31st, there is the Trunk or Treat fundraiser at the fellowship between 3 and 5. You are welcome to sign up to have bring your car, decorated car, and have treats coming out of your trunk. You will have PVC lined pipe to keep that safe so that you can shoot it on down to kids. There's a costume contest. You can bring your own carved pumpkin for that contest. And I will be there in costume as well. So I'm hoping to see lots of folks there. And this is a great event to invite people to in a year when Halloween is going to be so truncated for so many of us. These two fundraisers are followed by a silent auction this year. It's entitled Gratitude in 2020. It will run November 8th through November 14th, and the website will be available on November 1st. But in the meantime, you can donate items on a donation form that's going into the chat, or email Julie McKenzie, and her email is also going in the chat. Next Sunday, beloveds, is November 1st. It's our annual day of remembrance. We won't be able to create an altar as we have in years past, but we will create a slideshow of pictures of those you'd like to memorialize, no matter how long ago it was that they've passed away. Send photos to Linda Thornton by Wednesday, October 28th, and her email is going into the chat now. In your photos, you can include the name of the person, their relationship to you, and their dates of birth and when they passed, or just when they passed away. If you are new here, we are glad you found us and hope that even in this virtual community, you can experience the warmth and the love and the passion of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please do come back a few Sundays to really get to know us. If you want to get better acquainted, please see the chat window for the link to our first-time visitors page, or email your information to the office manager. Her email is also in the chat. Her name is Carol Pranschke. And do check out the fellowship calendar and our connections weekly for all the opportunities to stay connected. Finally, if there are any new people who are here today and you'd like to introduce yourself into the chat, just tell us your name and where you live, and then we could, like, the town you live in. That helps us stay connected. And maybe what brought you here today, for we love to get to know who's among us. Everyone is invited to stay for virtual coffee hour or a talkback after the service, and those chats will be available to you at the end of those links will be available to you at the end of the service. If you have a chalice at home, you can light it with me as I light our fellowship chalice. And so we know where all our chalices are. Please write in the chat, chalice lit in, and then the name of your town. And you can say the words along with me as you light your chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I'll sing our bowl a second time, inviting you to let that bowl draw you deeper into the present moment and the company of this gathered community. This is our last Sunday on the theme of deep listening. And so we're talking about deep listening in troubled times. There's an invitation here today to create space for you to listen inwardly amidst the swirl of external intensity that we are finding ourselves in. So we'll begin today with a Transylvanian folk tune called Find a Stillness. The lyrics are by Unitarian minister Carl Seberg. And you will, and they will also be in the chat for anyone who wants to join in singing. I invite this song, to have this song be an invitation to an inward journey. And then we'll pause for some silent meditation following the hymn.
Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Listening. It can help us find our way. And in troubled times, deep listening does more than just guide us through. It can also create our world. Come with us as we deeply listen our way into being. The Old Threads Are Unraveling by Julia Myers. The old threads are unraveling. Get your needles ready. We are stitching a new quilt of humanity. Bring your old t-shirts, worn out jeans, scarves, antique gowns, aprons, old pockets of plenty, who have held Earth's treasures. Stones, feathers, leaves, love notes on paper, each stitch a mindful meditation, each piece of material a story. The more color, the better. So call in the tribes, threads of browns, whites, reds, oranges, women from all nations start stitching. Let's recycle the hate, the abuse, the fear, the judgment. Turn it over, wash it clean, wring it out to dry. It's a revolution of recycled wares. Threads of greens, blues, purples, colorful threads of peace, kindness, respect, compassion are being stitched from one continent to the next, over forests, oceans, and mountains. The work is hard. Your fingers may bleed, but each cloth stitched together brings together a community, a world, our future world, under one colorful quilt, the new quilt of humanity. When voices are joined in song, we are stitching that colorful quilt of community. And when we vote, we create a new quilt for humanity. So join us in listening to this musical offering from one voice. Vote your dream.
Vote your dream of justice, vote your dream of kindness, vote your dream of peace and joy, vote to heal the world, vote to end the violence, vote to end the cruelty, vote to end the hate and fear, vote to heal the world. Vote for love and welcome, vote for truth and beauty, vote to lift compassion up, vote to heal the world. Vote a safer country, vote a healthy planet, vote for human dignity, vote to heal the world.
Voting is one way we share our values in this community. And if you haven't voted yet, we encourage you to do so. Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives in this community by giving half our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, we are sharing our plate with Crop Walk of Boulder County, nominated by the BVUUF Crop Walk team. Boulder Valley has been proud to take action against hunger in our community by supporting the crop hunger walks for many years. This is the 35th annual Boulder County Crop Hunger Walk, and this year's walks are being held virtually, meaning participants can walk alone, with immediate family, or in small groups walking a safe distance apart. Our goal is to provide more meals for the growing number of people who need them and contribute to food security in our community and around the world. Please give generously as the plate passes. After you've made your offering, you can share with us in the chat. Today's question is, what helps you find your stillness? For the work of this fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice to this world. And to the crop walk, we dedicate our offerings.
And now we sing. From you I receive, to you I Together we share, and from this we live.
Last night, I dreamt that my house was invaded by flying cockroaches. And as I was frantically swatting them away, but there was to no avail, they just kept coming and coming from all over the place. So I guess it's not surprising for my subconscious to add this very visual image to this year of many, many plagues. My dreams have been like a mini series of dramas lately with titles like The Room with No Doors, They Are Coming for You, and of course the minister's recurring nightmare. It's Sunday morning, I'm naked, and I can't find my sermon. What titles would your dreams have these days? You can feel free to add some of them into the chat if you'd like. I seem to be remembering more of my dreams lately, and they are much more vivid. I take that as a sign that there's just a lot to process each night, and that remembering them is an invitation to pay more attention to my own inner landscape. And now with the election coming up, my daytime conversations about possible scenarios are like the makings of nightmares. It's quite possible that this year's election results will not be clear on the evening of November 3rd or for some time afterwards, which will create instability and even more anxiety in our nation. It's possible that our current president won't concede if he doesn't win the election, and that more violence will erupt in the streets, no matter which way it goes. Never in all my years of ministry have I received guidance from the UUA about how to prepare for a possible coup. So daily, I'm being forced out of the comfortable narrative of it can't happen here. And I think it's really important to be able to name the challenges and the fears that we have, especially around the upcoming election. Fred Rogers says, what we name becomes manageable. What we name becomes manageable. So naming our fears provides us this opportunity to find the way around them, to ask ourselves, what is it about this that may be just catastrophizing, but what is it about this that I need to pay attention to? And all of this on the election is on top of fires, of a pandemic, and then a new powerful racial justice movement, which is reshaping another narrative of the country, that this is the land of the free. And it's also not like the rest of our lives have lightened up either as well. It's a lot. Perhaps more than any of us have ever carried in our individual bodies, and that we've carried in the collective body of humanity. So in the midst of all of this, it's very easy to lose track of yourself, to lose track of your center, your grounding. It's easy to get sucked into the scrolling news feeds. I've been doing more and more of that lately. And it's easy to just numb out on video games or your favorite binge watching show. And that's where the call to develop practices to help ourselves stay connected to ourselves comes in. Some of us in these times have gotten very busy. Thank you to all of you who have had the energy to write postcards to voters in swing states, to join phone banks and text banks, who've leafleted your neighbors about important statewide issues and helped us keep our fellowship together, both by helping us to physically move in and all the other things we're all doing to help us stay connected. For me, doing the literature drops for Together Colorado around the paid medical leave and around Propositions 116 and 117 helped me feel a part of something that was making a difference. and it was helpful for my spirit. And it reminded me of a quote I heard years ago when I did Outward Bound in my 20s. And the quote was from Dr. Henry Link, who wrote, "At the heart of many fears, both mild and severe, is an overactive mind and an underactive body." So one way, my friends, to alleviate these anxieties is to engage in things that can help us move it forward in a positive way. I'm certainly the type who can sit and spin, and engaging my own body helps me find meaning and purpose. And some of us have needed to retreat in these times, either because of these times or because of the demands on our own lives or the needs of our bodies and our souls. Thank you for knowing what you need and taking care of yourself. Martyrdom or shooting yourself all over the place doesn't do anybody any good. We need our best selves here. Thank you for those of you who are resting and retreating. So today, as we're wrapping up our month-long exploration of deep listening, the invitation is really to not so much be listening to everything that's swirling around outside of us, as I'm confident many of us are doing. We have all we need of that. But today's listening is about deep listening within. Deep listening to know whether it is action that is calling you and helping you keep your center, or perhaps whether it is retreat and stillness. And we need both, actually. It's about listening to your own inner teacher, and even perhaps allowing yourself to get that glimpse, that beautiful glimpse of the profound interconnection we all have to one another and to all of creation. Some of us would call that sacred, the sacred interconnection. So right now, if you would, take a deep breath and let it out slowly. And one more time. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Allow your breath to be an invitation for your own body to find a little stillness. Your breath can feel like the ocean going in and out. It's like a stillness in motion. Of course, in times like these, there's always the sense of there being a lot to do. But for now, just for now, take a deep breath in. And allow your body to feel the pleasure of that. In a soulful prayer, UU Minister Joe M. Cherry writes, "When my ears are full of the worries, the concerns, the pains of others, grant me permission for silence. When my arms and shoulders and back ache from the burdens of others, grant me permission to set them down." Are you giving yourself permission to set down the burdens of the world? Or to even set down your own burdens for a spell? Practices of deep listening to ourselves require us to create spaciousness in our minds, away from the chatter, in our hearts, and also in our calendars. One of the gifts of the pandemic for me is that I'm doing far less driving. So instead of all that driving to kids to school in the morning and me driving home late from evenings at night, there's more time for sleep, which is lovely, and for a morning spiritual practice. My practice includes journaling, some planning for my day, some inspirational reading, silence, and movement. And each morning practice ends with an affirmation for the day that arises from my first thoughts journaling. Lately, it's been something like this. May I move with clarity of purpose and compassion. And I realized that without my conscious thinking of it, what arose from my own inner teacher from that quietness includes my body with the intention of right action, movement in the activities of my day, my mind for clarity in what I choose to do, and my heart, compassion. When I'm not doing that and setting an intention, my days can have a much more frantic quality. So it's become integrating for my whole being. This morning time has deeply helped me to focus on what's essential to my day and minimize that frenetic action, like the swatting of the flying cockroaches, whatever form they may take on any particular day. Every Tuesday night this fall, our intern minister, Lisa Moore, Director of Lifespan Faith Formation, Jessica Lakeman, and I are teaching a drop-in class on spiritual practices. Anyone can show up, 7 to 8 p.m. It's not a one-size-fits-all class, but it's a class that invites people to try out different practices over the course of each session. And there's an intentional invitation to move towards daily practice, weekly worship, monthly service, yearly retreat, and a once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage. I found that to be a lovely framing for how one can begin to anchor the practices that can help us stay steady in troubled times. This Tuesday, the focus will be on prayer, and next week, on election night, it will be on meditation. And all are welcome to join in any of these sessions. A few years ago, we charged ourselves to become a center for spiritual exploration and justice making. Or our short form is inner depth and outer focus. As these times call more and more from us, let us remember to heed that call to intentionality and to listen, to take time to deeply listen to the wisdom within our own beings, our own souls. May it be so.
Listening does not always have to be with our ears. One powerful tool of deep listening can be a visual meditation. Imagery and art can have this very special way of opening a space deep inside to really listen to our inner selves. This exercise is to listen deeply by looking at a piece of art with a reflective lens. So in this sacred space, I invite you to join me in meditating on a piece of art by Georgia O'Keeffe. A warm reminder is this activity is purely invitational. You can use this time to embrace some silence and stillness as well. So if you'd like to participate, take a deep breath in and exhale and soften into the imagery. Let its colors and shapes capture your attention and open yourself to the art of listening. You might gently notice what feelings may arise. And as you scan the imagery, consider any memories that it may stir. May we be open to the message this art has for us today. And now, let our bodies and our minds return. Give this painting gratitude for the gifts and wisdom it offered you while you were deeply listening. And as you feel called, you can write in the chat 1 or 2 words capturing what you heard in this beautiful painting. And consider this quote from Anna Quindlen, from A Short Guide to a Happy Life. He stared out at the ocean and said, "Look at the view, young lady. Look at the view." And every day, in some little way, I try to do what he said. I try to look at the view. That's all. Words of wisdom from a man with not a dime in his pocket, no place to go, nowhere to be. Look at the view. When I do what he said, I am never disappointed.
And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. This is a time when you are invited to bring forth and name anything that's going on in your life that you would like either to celebrate with us or to offer us so that we can help you help you hold it more lightly and help support you on your journey. So if you'd like to share a joy or a concern, raise your hand using the button in the participants window, and Tech Usher Deborah will unmute you, or you may see a pop-up window asking you to unmute yourself. If you prefer, you can share your joy or concern in the chat window by sending a chat to everyone, and then Deborah will read out loud what you send. When you do share, whether it's by voice or by chat, please tell us your name, the pronouns you prefer, you use actually, and where you live, and then briefly let us know what is in your heart today. And then I will put a stone into our sacred waters on your behalf. And I'll put one last stone in for all of those joys and concerns that remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, knowing that even in our silence, we are bound together in the web of life. Beloveds, so much is upon us these days. And as winter approaches, the sense of isolation and the darkness that is with us may even increase our own fears. And it's real to be missing the physicality of each other. Let us do everything we can to stay connected, to reach out to one another, to find those ways, small and large, where we can be the vessels, be the action of that interconnection that is a profound statement of our faith. Beloveds, we have this community that is weaving itself together, this new colorful quilt that is being woven. Let us make sure the edges continue to go out even further. Let us remember those who are the most marginalized in these days. Let us remember those who are hurting the most, who would struggle to reach in. May we be the ones to reach out and to call them into a new quilt of comfort, a quilt of inspiration, a quilt of justice, a quilt for a new humanity. May it be so. Amen. I'm going to invite us now to to listen to a meditation on breathing, and there's an opportunity to sing along when you see the lyrics, but it has a nice long introduction just for us to be in a more meditative space. And I invite us now to extinguish our chalice. Say the words with me, if you will. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. So let us go forth, beloveds, with courageous love, courageous enough to listen within to what we need, and courageous enough to give out when we are able to bring this new quilt of humanity into being. Blessed be. Amen.